Well, hello, hello. Once again, I am back from my horrible vacation. It was not a vacation. I am Stephanie. This is Steve joining me on the show today. Hey, Steve.
Hi there, Stephanie. How are you?
Well, I've had better weeks. I'm looking forward to this one just because, we've got a town meeting on the docket. Cinco de Mayo is coming. Kentucky Derby is coming. We're not going to talk about those rotten Bruins last night. We're going to look forward to the Celtics. Positivity, May Day. Today's the day we're getting out the vote.
Well, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, right. So, Steve, talk to everybody about why it is that you're joining us on the show today. Hi, everyone.
Hi there. Well, first of all, Stephanie, I want to thank you very much
Yeah.
for having me here today. I'm here because this evening in the town of Bourne, there's going to be a town meeting, and within that town meeting is a special town meeting, and the meeting itself starts at 7, and the special town meeting starts at 7:30. But there are two articles that are of particular interest to a group of people in the community, and it's the repeal. The first article is currently in Bourne, you cannot have a cannabis dispensary. So what we're looking to do in this movement is repeal that ban, and that would allow for marijuana establishments to be in the town of Bourne. The second thing we're looking to do is implement zoning bylaws so that we can regulate this industry, regulate the number of dispensaries that would be allowed to come in town, regulate where they would go. A little bit of background on me. I used to be on the town of board planning board, and I served as chairman for a number of years. So I'm very familiar with zoning bylaws and how important they are to the town. I've also served on the Bourne School Committee. I was the chairman of the committee that wrote the local comprehensive plan, which is a 10-year vision of the town. And I also served as the chairman of the committee that hired the most recent superintendent of schools. So I'm very heavily invested in the town of
Okay.
Bourne.
Yeah, because I'm sure that people are wondering who's this Steve guy? Why are we listening to him right now? Good morning, Christiana. Good morning, Adam, Josh, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, this is Steve, and he is here to talk. Well, you have your backgrounds in real estate also.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I have a couple of different perspectives on this. Interestingly enough, Stephanie, I didn't start out to be the face of this movement.
Right?
You
I
know,
don't think anybody does, but when you see something that's wrong,
well, that's it. This industry is here to stay. It's a $4 billion industry. It's closing in on $5 billion
incredible.
worth of sales. The state takes collectively 20% of that. So the state's about to collect $1 billion in taxes with regards to this. And 3% of that is directly kicked back to the town. And out of the other remaining 17%, obviously that money comes back indirectly in school funds and Chapter 91 funds and local aid and whatnot. So it's a big cash boon to towns. But I understand this issue is a little bit controversial for some folks. So we're not focusing on just the money this is going to bring in, because for some people, it doesn't matter how much.
Yeah, it's not about the money. Adam says there are too many positive benefits for this not to be allowed, taxes alone. But there are people that are afraid of cannabis.
eh, in there, and that's absolutely true. They think that if we do this in the town of Bourne, it's going to somehow unleash the dogs. And I think we know now we have enough of a look back period to see that this isn't a negative for a community. It turns out to be a positive. I mean, Mashpee has it, Sandwich has it, Carver has it. I mean, it is all around Bourne. And one of the things we complain about in Bourne more than anything in the world is traffic. Well, let's take advantage of that traffic. Let's have a few dispensaries. We've put the limit on 3 dispensaries because we feel that's the number that can service the town adequately. Let's take advantage of that traffic. These people coming through Bourne, because you have to drive through Bourne to get anywhere on the Cape.
Mhm.
Let's take advantage of those folks as far as they can stop, they can buy the product, and they can go anywhere on the Cape, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, wherever they want. But let's get the benefit of that traffic, those people coming through. I think that's an important factor.
Yeah,
But
because there is one in Wareham. Wareham also. Yes.
oh yeah,
Yeah, like every surrounding towns all have it.
absolutely, absolutely. And what we've been trying to do here is educate people, because it's interesting to me that people don't really understand these dispensaries, how they operate, how they work. And that's sort of the message we've been trying to get out. We've tried to be very open and transparent about what we're doing here. I've been in front of the select board, I've been in front of the planning board, I've been in front of the finance committee twice, I've been in front of the bylaw committee on this. We're trying to get the word out. People don't understand these dispensaries.
Hmm.
An interesting fact is when you buy a product at a dispensary, from the time that product is a seed to the time it becomes a product and it's sold to an individual, that that product is tracked the whole way
It
through.
is. Yes.
And there has been talk about, well, what if these products get diverted to kids? And I think one thing we can agree on this debate, no matter what side of the debate you're on, we care about kids. And I'll certainly talk about that. But when you go to a dispensary, you give them your driver's license. They have a record of what you buy. You have a limited amount of what you can buy on a daily
Hmm.
basis. If that product gets diverted to kids, they know where that product came from. You're gonna be in a world of trouble if that happens. So we think that's an important fact that people maybe don't understand and don't know.
What upsets me about kids are going to get into whatever they're going to get into. They get into alcohol. They were buying vanilla extract from the grocery store because it had alcohol in it, and we had to chain up the vanilla extract at one point. Every single thing, whether it's cough syrup or all of these they're eating Tide Pods. Okay. Like, I dislike when people use that argument that this is going to get in the hands of kids, because kids are going to get at things just out of curiosity factor anyway. No one's marketing to children. No one's confusing this with things that aren't. Everything is properly labeled. Even the items themselves on the actual whatever product it is labeled.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about the kids aspect of all of this is, when I got involved in this 4 years ago, I was on the planning board and we wrote zoning bylaws, and this was an issue in the
Lauren
town.
says, Steve, please keep speaking up for everyone.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lauren. That's the goal here. But when I got involved in this through the planning board, and I started meeting the players in the industry and talking to them, one of the things that was important to me was that the black market is out there. It's going to exist. If there's a market, the black market will fill it. These are people that don't care about your kids. We've recently had reports of marijuana that's been laced with fentanyl. And here is what I would suggest to you is if you care about kids and you want to make sure they're educated on this, make sure that you keep this product out of their hands. You have to be 21 years old to legally buy this in the state. Then regulate the industry. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, the cost of marijuana at a dispensary was about 4 times the street value, what you could buy it on the street. So nobody's gonna buy it on the, a lot of people aren't buying it at the dispensary if they have to pay 4 times as much. Well, because so much product has come online, it's neck and neck at this point. So, drug dealers, they're bad people, and I wanna put them out of business. They have to import their drugs from Mexico or California. They have to get it here illegally. The Massachusetts dispensaries are dispensing local product grown here by local companies, and that is the way to put drug dealers out of business. I said earlier, there's been over $4 billion worth of sales. If we weren't selling marijuana legally in this state right now, the vast majority of that $4 billion would be in the black market. It would be with criminals, because that's what drug dealers are. They're criminals. So let's turn the tables on the black market. Also, with the money we're going to get from this, closing in on $1 billion in taxes, let's put a significant portion of that money towards addiction care and mental health issues. Because I'll tell you what, everything has the potential for abuse. It doesn't mean because you buy a lottery ticket, you're going to become a degenerate gambler. It doesn't mean because you drink a glass of wine, you're going to become an alcoholic. And it's the same thing with marijuana.
Mhm.
Obviously, some people will abuse it for one reason or another, but let's get to the root cause of that abuse and let's deal with it. Because if you just vote this and say, no, we don't want it in Bourne, you haven't accomplished anything. You haven't done anything. In my mind, you're kind of part of the problem because it's here. It's $1 billion industry. It's not going
Well,
anywhere.
and I think that you need to also talk about the positives of natural medicine and more homeopathic remedies for things that are easily readily available at your fingertips for the town of Bourne, and not having to go and give all of that money to other towns when this is real medicine for people.
It absolutely is. And to that point, one of the points in this process from, a few years to today, I had a good friend, and his son was in Iraq. He was in the military, and there was an explosion, an IED in his area, and he was injured. So he went to all the army doctors, of course. When he got home, he went to the doctors here, but he has terrible insomnia, and he has migraine headaches, debilitating migraine headaches. The only thing that brings him any relief, and he's tried everything, the only thing that brings him relief is cannabis. What the people who don't want this in the community for whatever reason, what they don't understand, I think, based on the feedback I've been getting in this process, is cannabis has a lot of therapeutic uses.
Mhm.
It has therapeutic uses for people who suffer from joint and muscle pain, from anxiety. Some people use this every day to get through the day and cope with their anxiety. Also, people who can't sleep at night, this helps them get some rest. So, and believe me, folks, I know some incredibly successful people that I've known for many, many decades. They're users of cannabis. You'd never know it because they're so successful, and they get their day done and accomplish so much during the day. So the idea that, the people who are using this product are potheads and stoners that are just sitting around, contributing nothing to the community, couldn't be further from the truth. And ultimately, however the vote goes tonight, I respect however you feel, your position on this.
For sure.
It's important to respect other people and their political positions. But when you vote tonight at the town of Bourne special town meeting, vote on the facts. Don't vote on, I've heard things. The one that really gets me is they've been saying, there's a few people in town saying, if you do cannabis, it's a gateway drug to heroin, and they make the connection that
Okay.
just about it. They
Wait, what? I've never heard that one before.
Oh, well, you'll hear that tonight at town
No,
meeting.
stop.
Honest,
Really?
honest to God. The other night I was at a candidates forum, and that's what one of the anti-pot people, I'll just call them that for the sake of argument. The anti-pot people said it's a gateway drug right to heroin. The other thing they said, it's a hallucinogenic. So that these people who are on it, it reminds me of the reefer madness
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
It really
The
does.
propaganda videos from the 50s. Like, seriously. It's not. That is not what it is.
Oh, absolutely. So, other states haven't done it right. In California, they did a terrible job of legalizing this. New York is the most recent example. You have in New York, they have illegal pot shops everywhere. They close them down, and the police chief said it's like whack-a-mole. You close one down, another one pops open. They have people going in these stores that don't even know they're illegal stores. Those are the states where they didn't do it right. Now, Massachusetts, to its credit, did this industry right. It's heavily regulated.
Mhm.
The vetting process to open one of these stores.
And if you've not ever been into a dispensary, let me tell you, it is a process before you even get in there to get stuff. They are making sure that everything is right. Your license, your ID, your identity. I mean, it's hard. It's easier to go vote tonight than it is to get into a dispensary. You have to be on point when you're walking into these places. I want to talk to Dawn. Says that she's been a cannabis user, AM and PM. I don't get high, I get regulated, and I would not be able to live without it. Mari said friends of hers, back pain, and it's the only thing that works for them. And many of our friends have worked in commercial and compliance in California, and that has been an absolute nightmare. But I think that just taking the stigma away from this is really important. And I've been working with a lot of people to do exactly that. There comes a stigma with cannabis users, and that needs to go away because this is actual medicine. These are positive things that we're doing, and we're trying to do it right, especially here in the town of Bourne. And it is a 50-50 issue. People are afraid of it. And I challenge you out there to go to a dispensary and see how it's done. I challenge you to educate yourself a little bit more on not the reefer madnesses of the world, but the actual uses and the ways that people are healing themselves with this plant. It is a plant. Okay. So let's talk about tonight's vote.
Yes. Okay. So what they're going to do, the process is such that the town meeting starts at 7. Now, the only way to be allowed into the auditorium is to be a town voter. If you want to go to the town meeting and participate sort of indirectly, you can go to the high school That's where the meeting is, and you can go into the library/media center, and you can watch it on a live feed. And we do have a number of people that intend to do that because they're supportive of this, and they're going to hold signs out, as people arrive. But the special town meeting will open at 7:30, and they do a lottery system. They just pick articles randomly, and the first out when the marijuana issue comes up, which we expect will be shortly after 7:30, the first thing the voters are going to vote on is whether to repeal the existing ban. Because right now, the last time this was voted at town meeting was 2019, and the repeal of the ban failed by 31 votes. And we think that today, 4 years later, that there's been a significant shift in the attitudes and perspectives of people. So we feel you know confident that the will of the people is we know the will of the people is to repeal this ban, but you have to get there and you have to vote. And that's the thing we've tried to guard against. And I can't stress this enough. There's a lot of complacency out there. We
People
collect
are busy in their lives also.
right. And
We get it.
we collected, in order to get this on the ballot, we had to collect over 350 signatures. These people are like, oh, I'm behind. Not all, some people sign it so you can get on.
Yeah, you get
And-
the we're with you, but
and-
I'm not going.
but so
Thanks.
there is the attitude. Somebody said it to me the other day. Oh, I'm not going to go, Steve, but you got this. Come on. At this point in time, people understand the marijuana is.
That's what
this
Rob
is
out
usual.
there said.
But-
It's 2023 people.
But that's our biggest problem, or the biggest concern we have is people are going to be complacent and they're going to think, I don't need to go. You really need to go. You need to be there, because if we lose by 5 votes, it's that's going to be a real punch in the gut here. Because
Well, Lauren is asking, are they going to leave it till the end and then reschedule so that no one can attend?
no, we could have put it on the regular town meeting with 10 signatures. We went out and collected. You need over 100 verified signatures so that it could be put on for the special town meeting, which is held at 7:30. And once that's opened, the marijuana will come up. It will be voted on. Then the special town meeting will be closed. Now you can't revisit it like you can in a regular town meeting. So we looked at the process and we said, this is the way to do it. So here's your time commitment. Get there around 7 o'clock, and you'll be out of there probably by 8:30, and it'll be a done deal at that point. I understand it's a huge time commitment. I really do. But this is such an important issue for the community
Mhm.
that we really need to do it. So we have the repeal of the ban, which is a majority vote. Okay. So if 201 people vote to repeal the ban and 200 vote to keep the ban in place, then the ban is repealed. The zoning bylaws are a little bit different because they're zoning bylaws. They require a 2/3 vote. Now, the zoning bylaws are really important because if we don't have regulations in place, what happens with businesses in the town, like any other town, is when you come in front of the planning board, they match you up with what is the most comparable industry. So marijuana is just retail. So in other words, if we don't have zoning bylaws in place, marijuana dispensaries in the town of Bourne can go anywhere. You can have retail
Oh, okay.
anywhere. So what we did is we crafted zoning bylaws that align with what the state has given out to municipalities, saying, hey, this is how, now that we have this 3, 4, 5 year look back period,
Mhm.
this is what you should do with your zoning bylaws. Align them with the interests of the town and the interests of the state, and don't make them so burdensome that nobody wants to come in the town and do business.
Yeah.
Initially, the idea was, oh, let's tuck these dispensaries into industrial parks. Let's keep them off the main thoroughfares. Let's keep them where, people aren't going to see them.
Right.
That's terrible for an industry. So I think what we've learned now is that you can put these on a MacArthur Boulevard, and they're going to fit in there. And that's where we're going with the zoning bylaws. Now, the anti-pot people are again twisting the sort of the narrative and saying, well, if you put it in zoning bylaws, that means you approve marijuana. And nothing could be further from the truth. But you can't, these I was at a candidates forum the other night, and these people are just shouting at me, telling me, making statements. And you try to explain to them what we're really doing here, and it falls on deaf ears.
Well, it's also difficult because we're in a country that is completely divided already, and people are very divisive and angry and very stuck on their ways and set in their things. And it's really difficult to sway anyone's opinion at this point in time. It really is very difficult. I want to say good morning to Sarah, pro cannabis cancer survivor. We're all happy you're here. I want to say we have so many people checking in with us this morning, and most people are just so pro. My mom, 60, uses it for arthritis. It makes her life would be unlivable without it. Steve, remind everyone to attend on behalf of non-citizens, even if he doesn't want to vote for himself. Their mind is already made up. Yeah, it's really difficult to sway people, but can you assuage people and their stresses?
Yeah, I mean, the two concerns, if you ask me, that are very legitimate concerns are kids and addiction.
Okay.
Okay. So to me, we need to engage these folks. To me, it's the people in the middle that are going to make the decision. You have the hardcore people that are, this could bring $100 million into the town of Bourne. They still say no. Then you have the other people that say, listen, cannabis is such an important part of my life. I would love to be able to just buy it in Bourne, because those people in Bourne are using it. They just have to drive to Mashpee or Wareham or Carver or Sandwich or wherever to get the
Yeah, they're
product.
gonna get it.
They're going to get it. So for me, what the message that I think resonates the strongest for people who are in the middle here and willing to listen with an open mind is, let's take a significant amount of the proceeds, the tax revenue on this, and put it towards mental health and addiction services. Because listen, there's very, very few families in this Commonwealth that aren't touched in one way or another by mental health issues and addiction issues. And to stick your head in the ground and just say, no, 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 we want to keep it out of Bourne and this and that, it's not the way to go, folks.
Mhm.
It's not the way to go. And the other thing is with kids. I've been told, they think that this product is somehow going to get diverted to kids. It's just the opposite. If you can squash the black market and put the drug dealers out of business, drug dealers can't survive on teenagers. They don't. It's just not going to work. I make the analogy that the reason we don't have moonshiners and bootleggers here is because you can go to a liquor store and buy a liter of alcohol cheaper than you can make it. So
Right.
once this industry goes 100% mainstream, and which it's going that direction, whether you want it to
Oh,
or not.
absolutely. It's more like craft beer at this point.
Yeah.
It really, that's what it's become, that sort of industry.
And I don't use the product. My wife doesn't use the product. My kids are college age kids. They don't use the
We
product.
need more people like you that are they understand the business, the science, that are educated, that I don't partake in it, but why am I taking that away from my town? I think that is really important. That's the distinguishment
And
there.
and I also believe in I don't want to get too political or philosophical, but
Thank you.
but I believe adults have a right to choose.
Mhm.
And just like you have a right to choose whether you drink a glass of wine or buy a lottery ticket or use the cannabis products in whatever form. I mean, there's smoke in it, there's edibles, there's bombs and salves for muscle aches and whatnot. I mean,
That's another thing. It's not everybody's going to be smoking joints on the side of the road. This is not what's going to happen.
The product array is mind-boggling. I've been in a number of these different dispensaries to sort of check out operations.
Mhm.
They're clean, well-run places. And the other thing I mentioned, I'm the chair. I wrote the local comprehensive plan as the chairman of the local local comprehensive plan committee. And one of the things we wanted to do in Bourne, as it relates to the economy, is we want locally owned businesses. We want good paying jobs with benefits. And this industry brings that to
does.
town. We do have an individual who owns a store in Carver that wants to open up in Bourne. I mean, the other day at the candidates forum, I was attacked. They said, well, there are special interests. There are people who want to open dispensaries in Bourne, and you're here advocating for them. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I am. It's a good thing that if we open up this cannabis in Bourne, that there are people who want to actually come into town, spend millions of dollars getting these
Mhm.
businesses up and running. And you know what? It's a for-profit business. So these people are, they intend to make a profit. And the more money they make, the more money comes into to the town's coffers. And I can tell you, one of my biggest pet peeves in the town of Bourne is the roads. The roads are atrocious.
We all
And
agree.
yeah, so there is we're trying to build a new fire station. I mean, there is a need for this money. And again, it's not all about the money. I've never said that.
No, but Mari, you make a great point. She said the drug problem on the Cape started with opioids, which were prescribed by doctors, not marijuana. It's so true, though.
That's a great point. I might actually steal that for tonight's.
See, thank you, Mari.
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking tonight to introduce this. I'm gonna take that and work that into my speech.
Absolutely. These
Yeah.
are the trusted professionals that were supposedly giving us the thing that we needed. It definitely started quite an epidemic.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So again,
You guys are tailgating this vote, by the way. This is starting at like 4. People are going to be arriving, supporting, holding signs, waving. I mean, this is what we're drumming. We need your support on this. We need to get the people out. If you've got a neighbor that wants to go vote but can't, that has kids, go babysit for them. If you've got some way that you can throw your hat in to help so that people can get out and vote and support this, I think it's important to step it up.
Yeah, and to that point, I've reached out. I've been in the community now for about 15 years, and I've served. I think it's important to serve on a local level. So I've served on the planning board and the school committee and these other various boards. But this is really important, and I don't typically reach out and ask people for favors, but I have texted a lot of people and I've said to them, "Can you please consider coming out and supporting us?" Because in my mind, it is really that important. If it fails this time, I don't know where we go from here. But again, I think the only thing we have to guard against is complacency. So if you don't think your vote matters, honest to God, I don't think you could be more wrong on that point because this is going to come down to the wire. The opposition to this is they're actually well organized and they will do or say whatever they need to do or say to dissuade you from repealing the ban. So go tonight. If you haven't made up your mind, just listen with an open mind, listen to the facts, and then make your decision.
That's a good point. You should be going to your town meetings anyway. And if you're questioning or on the fence or I go and see and listen to the arguments and hear what people have to say. At least be part of your town.
Absolutely. I mean, in the town of Bourne, we've had trouble getting a quorum so that we could even have a town meeting. I'm fairly certain we won't.
Everybody likes to complain, but nobody likes to show up for these things.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, these are your choices.
Well,
Either complain and sit there forever or go and do something about it.
yeah, and you know what? The anti marijuana people will be there tonight. I can guarantee you that. So the people who understand this, I don't mean to say things like the people who understand this issue, but in my mind, if you look at all the relevant facts,
Yeah.
whether you use it or you don't use it, I don't see how you can be against this. I really don't. And I've tried to engage the other side because I want to understand their perspective and their attitudes. And it devolves into this, I'm against pot and people who use it will go on to other drugs and people are going to die because
Yeah,
of
it's
this.
not a gateway drug.
It's even worse than that. They tell you people are going to die, people are going to get high and drive and kill somebody. I mean, it's the other side, the things they're saying out there. I mean, it's impossible to engage on a meaningful level. And like I said, we've tried to be so open and transparent about this. We filed papers back in March 15th. We've been in front of the select board, the planning board, finance committee twice, bylaw committee. We've wanted to engage these folks and they're not looking for engagement.
I know. Joanna said if I was on the Cape, I would give them a history lesson and explain why the war on cannabis is wrong. Also, cannabis saved her life. Natural medicine is a thing and it saved her life.
And that is such a great point, and that's the point that, for whatever reason, misses the mark. It really does. You have people, my family has been riddled with cancer. Both my parents died of cancer. I've had cancer in the past.
Survivors here.
Cannabis is, for a lot of people with cancer, a key component of regaining their health.
Mhm.
or even, unfortunately, for some folks, it's a way to deal with the disease so that it doesn't cripple them even more than that terrible disease already does. So, when I look at that and I step back and I just don't understand why people are against this. It's just, I mean, it's somebody said it on one of the comments. It's 2023, folks. We have enough. We can look back over 4 years and see that this isn't a terrible thing for the community. If anything, it's a net positive in almost every respect.
Yeah. So if you've got somebody in the town of Bourne that has chronic pain, or maybe they're elderly, or maybe they're suffering and they're on the fence on this vote, please find a way to get them to this town meeting today and see what is happening in your town. Closing thoughts,
Well,
statements.
you know what I have to tell you, Stephanie. I am so grateful to you for the opportunity to be here today, because to get the message out nowadays with the internet, believe it or not, it's even harder to get the message out because nobody goes to just one source
Right.
anymore. It's not like if it's in the newspaper, everybody reads it. We took out an ad in the newspaper. We know that, the newspaper doesn't reach as many people as it used
Correct.
to in the past, and people are getting their news from all different sources. So I have to tell you, the opportunity to be here and talk to you and get this feedback, I mean, it's tremendous for us, and I think it's going to make a real difference this evening. So I am very grateful for this opportunity. It's been wonderful. You're great to do this, and I hope the folks that are watching and listening, I hope if they can get behind the cause and they feel strongly about that they come out for us tonight, because truly, truly, I know every politician says every vote counts. Tonight, I can assure you every vote
Yeah,
counts.
it's really important. Joanna, ban the bands. Ban the bands and Born tonight. Please come out and support this. Vote is 7 o'clock, 7 to 8:30. You think that's the time commitment?
Yeah, yeah. The meeting starts at 7. The special town meeting, which starts at 7:30. So if you get there at 7:10, 7:15, 7:20, you're still good. You're still good. And we don't expect it'll go much later than 8:30. And then afterwards, we're gonna gather at the Trading Post Lounge and
What a great place. My favorite bar pizza in town.
well, listen, if you can invite me back to do a special
I
one.
lived in Gray Gables. That was my first
Okay.
that was my first place, and that was our it was the old Trading Post Lounge. It was like Gertz or whatever it was, and boy, have they done a great job at that little spot. But I'm so down for that.
Well, I consider myself a pizza expert. If you told me the best pizza in the world was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
You'd go?
I'd be on a plane to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if you want to do a pizza show, please consider
Well,
me.
Steve, you're coming back for that then.
Absolutely.
A
Absolutely.
pizza show it is. Steve, make sure you get out there and vote. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Everybody else, have a fantastic day. I know it's a May Day. It's a little bit gray out there, but if you can get out there and do something fun today and support your town, then do so. If you're not in the town of Bourne or wherever you are, still look at your town meetings, see what needs to be done, and be a part of your area and be present in your situation. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.